Hey everyone, this is Saad. So this is the eighth course on our series MECM. Today I'll be discussing enroll iOS devices in Microsoft Intune. Um, so the agenda of today is I will be more focused towards the corporate owned devices than the BYOD, but I did put a couple of methods uh, of the BYOD devices in our agenda. So let's discuss here. Uh, so I broke it down into two pieces, the whole presentation, or you can say the call. Um, and the first half we will be discussing about the BYOD methods, and the rest of the call we will be discussing about the company-owned devices. So if you look at the documentation here, I'm going to show you the TechNet article as well. So these are the methods available. So these are just the most common methods available, including BYOD and company-owned devices. See, on the left side, it is the method. And on the right side, these are the parameters available for each method. So since we are focused on iOS devices in this call, so we're going to discuss one by one all of them. I may not be able to demo all of them because some of them require extensive amount of effort to, for example, setting up the Mac and all that kind of good stuff. But I will be showing you the most common ones and will give you enough idea. It will give you enough idea like how to deal with the iOS enrollment with Microsoft Intune. So let's get the ball going. So BYOD. So BYOD is, for example, the method BYOD reset required. No. So generally, this reset required is basically mentioned is when you are working on a no data loss scenario. So for example, you in a scenario where your device is on a part of one tenant and you are migrating the device to another tenant and you don't want your data to be lost during the migration. So that's where the reset is significant. Reset is important to understand. For the BYOD devices, since generally these BYOD devices are not owned by the company, so we, as an admin, you shouldn't be resetting or touching the data which you don't own or manage from the company side. So the BYOD method, no reset is required. User affinity, yes. User affinity means like association of user with the device. And MDM profile removable, no, because apparently it's a part of the mobile settings and the profile will not be deleted. Device enrollment method is this is the least favorite method of mine for iOS world because it has certain limitation, but in some cases you may run into this type of enrollment method. This is considered as a corporate owned device. So basically what device enrollment method is, let me show you the documentation. I will spend a few minutes on this. 1 second. All right, here. So this is an article. So enroll devices in Intune by using a device enrollment manager. So there are certain limitations with the device enrollment manager. So one of the biggest limitation is you can enroll up to 1,000 devices in total with single Azure Active Directory account, which is in other words the DEM account. So basically, if you are planning to enroll 3,000 devices, so you need a three separate DEM accounts: DEM1, DEM2, and DEM3, and all of three individual accounts must be licensed with Microsoft Intune license. There are some other limitations as well. So for example, DEM user account, so DEM account must be assigned an Intune license. Wipe can't be done from Intune portal. So wiping it because there is no user affinity, because the DEM account is kind of like, I think about it, it's a robotic account, non-human being account. It's you're using one account to enroll all stack of devices. Generally, this scenario is applicable where you have a stack of devices sitting at the help desk and you don't have the new employee or the new user ready, but you wanted to prepare those devices ahead of time to save some time. And what you do is you use the demo account, enroll the device, hand it off to user, and when user is ready, they log in with the device, their account, and the device is pre-enrolled. Okay, and another biggest limitation is DEM user account cannot use the Apple volume purchase Vpp app with Apple user license, because like the VPP apps generally work with the per user license, and since there is no user affinity, so DAM account is not applicable in this scenario. What else? So Microsoft Intune does not support the DAM account when enrolling devices by ADE enrollment. So ADE enrollment, you don't use the DAM account, and which you don't want to do it anyway. So when you use the ADE, you make sure that the managed user, either managed user or the other user, is enrolling the device directly. You don't want any middle person in the ADE enrollment. So DAM account cannot support conditional access because conditional access is intended for. This is a big one. So if you're planning to use, so basically, if you can't use the conditional access, it's pointless. And device can install VPP apps if they have the Apple VPP license, device-based license. Okay, and every device enrolled with DAM account needs to be properly licensed to be managed by Intune, which is all self-explanatory. And yeah, so I wanted to just show you the limitations of the DAM account. So be very mindful and careful when you use the DAM account. How you create the DAM account, let me show you 1 second. Actually, we're gonna get into the demo a little bit later. Let me spend a few more minutes in here on the theoretical part, and then we'll go on the demo. So just wanted to discuss the table first, and then we'll go on my actual agenda. Automated device enrollment is like the Apple device enrollment, basically ADE as well. And what it does is it's kind of like a Windows autopilot in Apple world, like a zero touch experience, and you pre-provision apps and set up the policies, and you can supervise the device to provide more restriction on all that kind of stuff. It's good stuff from the Apple Business Manager. Device must be coming from the Apple Business Manager portal to the Intune to be provisioned via ADE. Device reset, yes, because that makes sense, because device is fully managed. But when you enroll the device in the ADE starts from the very scratch to enroll the device and removes everything on the device. So device reset is mandatory here. User affinity depend on the option, which option do you choose, and the MDM profile is one of the settings, is also optional depending on the settings you choose. Set up a system enrollment by USB. Basically, it's kind of like um, another way. You have to have a Mac computer where you install the setup assistance, and then you enroll the device. You basically download the profile, and that's called the network profile under the setup assistance, and you enroll the devices by using a USB method. Um, it also does require the resetting of the device. I'll just put it in the backlog for now, and we'll revisit this device enrollment by USB. And this table is, let me show you this. This is an article here, Enroll iOS and iPad OS devices into Microsoft Intune. So this is a BYOD, and the rest of the methods are company-owned devices. So just to keep the things very simple, so I broke it down into two pieces, BYOD versus corporate-owned devices. And then let me first focus on the BYOD. I'll spend a few minutes, we'll give you a demo, and then we'll jump on our corporate-owned devices. We'll discuss each method, and we'll give you the demo as well. So bring your own devices. So bring your own devices. BYOD devices is a concept when the company is not ready or to provide their own assets to their employees, or in some cases they're working with contractors, or they don't want to invest money on the brand new devices to give it to their employee, like seasonal employees, workers, and all that kind of good stuff. So in that case, the company allows users to use their own devices, but their own devices will have the company data as well. So in that case, it's kind of like a partially managed device. So for example, if I'm using my personal device with my corporate credentials, and to access my corporate email, data, OneDrive, etc., my company shouldn't be going under my personal pictures, my text messages, my contacts, my personal stuff. So basically in Android, it's called like a containerization, but in iOS, there is no concept of containerization unless you do like federation with Apple Business Manager. That's something I'm going to create a separate video later, but just keep things simple. BYOD is something like they can only manage the managed data. For example, like if the company is using Outlook to provision their email, the Outlook app will be managed. And if the Outlook has a personal account as well, for example, like Hotmail, then that account will not manage. That's called multi-identity management. So the rest of the areas like pictures, messages, notes will be untouched. So that's a definition of BYOD. So we have three ways to enroll the BYOD devices. To be honest, BYOD is not a preferred method for all the admins to enroll their devices. The reason is BYOD is a user-driven process. So if the devices are BYOD, then you have to create a lot of tough help desk documentation to hop on a call with the end users to go over the process, to explain them step-by-step process like how to enroll their personal devices and in Microsoft Intune. Another biggest challenge is sometimes the employees do not agree their own devices, their personal devices, to be managed by Microsoft Intune. Even though it's BYOD, Microsoft Intune admin will not have all the information to the portal, but it's still, since the employee community is not often technical, they do not agree their device to be connected or touched by the company Mdm. So that's why BYOD is not preferred and very desired method for IT admins to adopt. On the other hand, company-owned devices are most common and much more utilized method for the end user community because the end user will be using the company provided asset, and IT department will have a full freedom to manage their devices the way they wish to manage. Okay, so back to BYOD. So there are three methods available to enroll the BYOD. The first is like a super light touch method, which you can also say like unenrolled way. Unenrolled way is like app protection method. So basically you can still manage the data, company data, by using the app protection policy. And on top of it, you can create a conditional access policy on unenrolled and unmanaged device. So I made a separate video on that. I'm not gonna go deep into that, but just to kind of give you a high level overview, I have a device I'm gonna show you, which is right now unenrolled and unmanaged, but the only company data is being protected in that device. And my company policies are only targeting to the managed apps. I wouldn't say managed app because this is 100% unenrolled device. Managed app in a sense that the app was already preloaded by end user, for example like Outlook or OneDrive app. It wasn't deployed by Intune admin, right? So that's why I wouldn't call it as a managed app, because we do not have a way to deploy the app on these unenrolled devices, because these are 100% BYOD devices. But since as a company we use the app, for example like Outlook, OneDrive, SharePoint, OneNote, right? We use these apps and we have our data sitting in those apps, so we're sending the policies to those apps, so only those apps are protected and the data is managed under those apps. So let me hop on a quick demo here, and we'll show you how to do it. But before I discuss all three methods one by one, I wanted to knock off one point here, which is obtain an Apple MDM push certificate. I made a separate video on that as well. So this is the core or mandatory requirement to do any sort of activity related to iOS. either it's Apple iPhone, iOS iPad, or Mac OS. So Apple MDM push certificate is absolutely required in Intune to start your managing your iOS or Mac OS devices from Microsoft Intune. How you do that, I'm not gonna show you all the process, but it's pretty simple. You go under devices here and iOS, under iOS enrollment, and this is called Apple Push MDM certificate. In my case, it is already active, um, and all of my information is populated, my Apple account and all that good stuff. So I made a separate video, so if you want to refresh your memory, go visit that video. All right, so I'll just check this one. So I have this prerequisite already set up. So let's get back to the Byod devices. So let me show you the first one, which is the light touch enrollment, and how you can secure the devices. 1 second. All right, so I have a device that is not managed by Microsoft Intune. So if I go in here under under settings, general, device management, so I don't have any device management profile there, right? So because I just like retired this device. So anyways, this is a plain BYOD device, nothing to do with my company data. That's my personal device here. So what we're doing here is we're gonna do the light touch enrollment. So what I mean by that is, for example, let's say like Outlook, right? And this is my, let's say, like personal Outlook app here, and as soon as I launch the app, it's checking the organization policy. Since I have the app protection policies enabled, and it's gonna look for the policies coming from Microsoft Intune portal. It's still checking because I just unenrolled the device here. Okay, so it just says the org data removed because I retired the device. So I'm gonna relaunch this app here. Okay, perfect. So the app is plain app here, and I'm gonna log in with my company account, add account. Let's say this company hired me and asking me to use my personal phone for their resources. Okay, so since I have the conditional access policy, when I hit sign it, okay, so this is where the magic happens. So since I had a conditional access policy, so let me show you here. So if I go in here under the apps and app protection policy, unmanaged device. So unmanaged device here. If you look at, so this is for Android, go with the iOS unmanaged device. Here, this one. So if you look at that here, this policy is only targeting to the unmanaged device, and these are the applications. So if the user launches one of these applications on their personally owned devices, the policy will trigger. So what I am doing here is I have a bunch of settings here under data protection. So for example, block backup and all that kind of stuff, right? This is just I made another video in detail, feel free to visit. So these are my settings here, and it is not assigned. Let me check. This one is not assigned. Let me see here. Let me go with the deployed ones and by the platform. platform and deployed. So one of these three policies, let me check. This is targeting to all devices. This is also targeting to all devices. And this is targeting to all device types. So basically I don't have a policy set up for unmanaged device, but I guess if I postpone this method here, let me show you. Second. I'll go ahead and postpone this. I don't want to enroll my device here. And if I launch this, it wouldn't let me do it because I guess I have a conditional access policy. It'll let me check. Second, devices. Defender for endpoint user group. So 1 second. Let me see who is a part of this group here. So we see that the Defender for Endpoint user group is and the demo 54 user is a part of that group. And this group is assigned to the conditional access policy if I show you here. So this is how you troubleshoot things. So conditional access policy, and what it's doing here is applicable to all the suite O365. And what the condition is here, browser, mobile apps, and the desktop apps. Okay, so mobile apps included. And what it's saying is required device to be marked as compliant. That means that the device must be compliant. So that's the next step. So what I'm gonna do, let's go step by step. I will turn off the policy here. And what I would do here, I will start with the very light touch, which is I will enable the application protection policy for unmanaged app here. Apps, iOS. Where am I going? Apps, application protection policy. I'll set up platform and I'll set up deployed. So there is a policy already created by myself here, but that's not deployed. So I'll go ahead and deploy that. iOS and manage Byod devices. So because this is only targeting to unmanaged devices, so I'll go ahead and assign this policy. Add a group. And I will assign to the user. I'll create a new security group real quick. And I will call it as iOS unmanaged user. So just create a new security group here. iOS unmanaged user group. iOS unmanaged user group. I will add the member, which is demo 54, that is licensed with Microsoft Intune. Copy this group name here. Very cool. So that's completed. I'll go back to my Microsoft Intune portal. And what I would do, I'll go to the app protection. This is my app protection policy. So just to rephrase, what I am doing here is we are working on the BYOD scenario number 1, method number 1, light touch app protection policy, right? And then within the number 1, I will show you how to forcefully enroll the device. Okay, so scenario number 1, let's get back to that. I created an app protection policy, unmanaged, blah blah. These are the applications, these are the policies here, and I'll go to the assignment, add group. I'll just add the same group I just created. Select, hit save, boom. So unmanaged app policy is assigned. So let's bring up the thing here and we'll see if I can. Because I just turned off the conditional access policy as well. So let me mirror my device to show you how does it look like. Alright, so back to my personal device here. I will launch one of the Outlook app. We'll make sure that the Outlook app is a part of that policy. This is important, right? So yes, so Outlook app is a part of this policy. Okay, I will add my account here, demo54, add account. Okay, that's fine. It says Authenticator app. Okay, another account? No, maybe later. Now, see, look at that. So your organization is now protecting its data. In this app, you need to restart the app to continue. Okay, very good. So if I relaunch the app, whatever the settings are, for example, passcode and all that, it will force me to set up the passcode. So let me put the credentials here. Okay, perfect. So either it was a touch or the passcode. So I use the touch. So I have the account set up. So let me check one more app here. So go back to that thing. Let's say like an Edge browser as well, right? So Edge browser. Okay, it's already logged in, which is good. So it's considered as a managed Edge browser. And let's say the last thing is the OneDrive. Let me see the OneDrive sign in. Okay, OneDrive is already signed in. Demo user 54. So we look good here. So basically what I am showing here is this is the enrollment. This is the scenario number 1 for the BYOD devices. I have my personal photos. I have my notes. I have some other stuff too, like email, but all of them are untouched. So if you go to the Intune portal, you will not see my device listed here. Okay, but you are only sending the application protection policies to manage the device. Okay, so if you go in here, iOS device, you're only seeing the one device, which is the ABM. That's a company owned device. I'll give you the demo with that device later. You won't see my phone number, you won't see anything else except protecting your data on the device level. So if you go to the apps, app protection policy here, deployed iOS unmanaged BYOD, this is the one. I'm pretty sure it's not up to date right now because we just assigned a policy, but you see like a user checked in. So user checked in these apps already, notes, Word, PowerPoint, blah blah, right? If you look at the one user checked in, I think you can further check there, but that's not the topic of the day. So that was the first thing. And what you can do is, another way you can enroll is you can enable the conditional access policy on top of it, even though the title says something else. But I'm turning this thing on. Now let me just make sure I have some exclusion here, because sometimes it becomes dangerous. Okay, condition access administrator, Intune admin. I'll make sure the global admin is also excluded. Yeah, perfect. So when I hit save, it will force me to enroll my device. So for example, when I launch Outlook, after a few minutes or so, it will revoke my access. I will say, make sure your device is enrolled. Alright, so after I enabled this conditional access policy, I waited for like 5 to 10 minutes just to make sure it's populated properly. So let me go back to my unenrolled device here. Let me share my screen real quick. Alright. Okay. So when I open up Outlook here, it wouldn't let me access data, and it would say login to the to your account. Okay, and then 1 second here. Okay, so when I launch app, it says Azure Lab Academy wants you to enroll your device. So if you look at the message here, Azure Lab Academy requires you to secure this device before you can access the Lab Academy email file and data. So when you hit continue here, it will ask you to open up the company portal app, and it will forcefully give you an option to enroll the device. So here, so this is where the manual process begins. So that was, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing here, but that was just a light touch method. So you can start with the app protection policy, and on top of it, you can secure the device by putting the conditional access policy. And when user tries to access the company data in one of the protected app, it will not let the user log in or access the data unless user enrolls the device. Okay, so the second one is the device enrollment, and the third is the user enrollment. So before we get into the device enrollment, we're still in Byod. So after that, we will be done with the Byod options. So just to rephrase what we just did, for the first step, we created an app protection policy. We used the unenrolled device, was never enrolled, never showed up in the Intune portal. And on top of it, we put the conditional access policy. So after the app protection policy kicked in, the conditional access policy made sure that the device is compliant, and for a device to be compliant, the device must be enrolled. So technically, another way to ask users to enroll the device. Okay, second option is device enrollment and the third is user enrollment. So let's discuss with the user enrollment first. Generally, the user enrollment comes to the picture when you're working with the managed federated Apple IDs. Okay, managed. I'm gonna make a separate video how to federate the Apple Business Manager, but just to show you how to do it, I'm not gonna go over the process right now. I'm gonna use the user enrollment without Apple Federation. So the way you federate account, the very first thing is you need to make sure your domain is verified. So I was trying to verify my domain in my last video, but it was taking longer, so I ended my video. But in this video, you can see that the azurelabacademy.com is verified. So what you do is just very simple. You grab the txt record, put it on your domain registrar. In my case, it's Azure portal, because I'm hosting my domain on Azure. and by using Azure DNS. So I put my TXT record over there and waited around like a day or so, and then it verified my account real quick. If it's GoDaddy, I'm pretty sure it will be much faster. So this step is completed. To federate, I'm gonna, like I said, we'll make a separate video to to show you how to federate the account. Second option, the second step is to federate. So if you look at here, ready to connect. So when you hit connect, it will take you to the Azure AD logon page, and then you have to enter the global credential, global admin credentials to authenticate, and then you can enable the dirt sync. It will show you the enable dirt sync here. And once you connect that, it will give you this option. When you hit edit, it will give you an option here to hit federate. So the federate button will be here. When you hit federate, it will ask you to log on one more time with the global admin credentials. All of your accounts will be federated, and you can use the Azure AD password to log on to the Apple Business Manager portal. But that's not a topic for today. Let's get back to where we were. So the purpose of user enrollment is like a light touch enrollment, not from the end user's perspective, but from the admin side. So when you have the user enrollment, you will have certain limitation as an admin to manage the devices. So what are those limitations? So let's discuss here. User enrollment. Let me open this link here. So user enrollment supported action. So these are the actions supported with the user enrollment, and it's currently in preview. So make sure, keep in mind this is in preview at the moment while I'm recording this course. So on user enrollment devices, if you configure any password settings, then the simple password setting is automatically set to block. And 60, basically what it's saying is it's gonna it's gonna take over on your simple password settings. Administrator remote actions, these are the only actions available for the user enrollment. So retire, delete, remote log, and sync. But if you look at the Apple here devices, you will have a lot of options available on the device if you don't do the user enrollment. Like a remote passcode, sync, shutdown, all that kind of good stuff here. But for the user enrollment, you will only have these four actions. All other actions are not supported. So end user action on user enrollment devices, end user can perform actions on their devices from company portal app. So these are the actions can be performed by end user. I'm not gonna go over the entire article, but I'll put it in the description so you can take a look what is available with user enrollment. Before you do that user versus device enrollment, so basically the concept of user enrollment is when you have the manage Apple ID, it's exactly the same concept as Android for work, like containerization. So what happened is, before when we didn't have a user enrollment, it was only a device enrollment. So technically the whole device is managed when you enroll it, but the Microsoft will not be accessing the personal data. So I will show you both the enrollment, but before you make an enrollment, you have to create an enrollment profiles here. So how do you do that here? Which is under, let me see, iOS. It should be under devices, iOS enrollment, and here, enrollment type profiles. So I have created all three profiles. So I'll go ahead and delete all I will not delete it. It's going to take time to create, but I'll show you here. So demo enrollment type 01, which is a user enrollment. So if you go to the properties, pretty simple. If I create a new profile here, let me show you. Test 0 to 7. So these are the types. So user enrollment, device enrollment, and the determined based on the user choice. So user enrollment is, I told you, I showed you an article what is available under the user enrollment, and the device enrollment admin will have more access to the device, but still admin will not be accessing the personal data as the device is the Byod device, and determined based on the user choice. So you leave it on the end user side, and end user will determine either he owns or she owns the device or the company owns the device. So well, let's say if you create a user profile and assign the user, and good to go. Similarly, for if you wanted to create um, device enrollment, it's the same thing. And the last one is determined based on your user choice. All you have to do is select the profile and assign the appropriate group. So I have all three created here. I will go ahead and first what I would do, I will add my account, the demo user account for this user enrollment. So if I show you my demo user account here, I created a group. I forgot the name of the group though. It was something iOS. Yeah, this one demo user. I'll create another security group called like iOS user enrollment group. I'll make demo user the member of this group here. We'll copy the group name so I can reuse. Alright, let's get back to here. So what I am doing here is under iOS, so devices, iOS, enrollment, enrollment types, and user enrollment. And under user enrollment, you assign this group. So I have the demo 54 user for the user enrollment. All other groups are not assigned. So let me see what it is assigned to. This is also user enrollment. It's assigned to the agency employees. I'll go ahead and remove it. Just doing a demo for RBAC for these groups. I'll unassign this one as well. Alright, so nothing assigned except the user enrollment currently. Okay, no, and yes here. So user enrollment. So let's start enrolling your personal device as a user enrollment. So I'll go ahead and share my screen from my phone. Okay. All right, so this is my, let's imagine this is my personal phone. I have the company portal app already installed because this must be a part of the instruction when help desk send instruction to the end user to enroll the device. Okay, company portal app, sign in. Somehow it's already logged in, so I wanted to show you from the scratch, right? So I'll go ahead and sign out this app completely. So let's say that I just installed the app. So when I hit sign in, it'll ask me to unlock. I'll use my account and thumb to touch. Okay. So install Microsoft Authenticator app, which is installed. Okay, so this is important. So as an end user, you would like to know what is being managed and what is not being managed after you enroll the device. So if you look at that, the company cannot manage these data like your browsing history, your personal emails, document, contacts, calendar, or applications. Application, I will explain what application can be managed or cannot be managed. Third is access or reset your passwords, view, edit, or delete your photos, see the location of your device, remove your personal data, photos, and apps from the device. Pretty cool, right? These are the personal space. The company shouldn't be accessing your data in one of these items. What company can manage, view model operating system like a basic. See the apps your organization can install for you. see the apps your organization has installed for you. In other words, manage apps. Identify the device by name and view information collected by corporate apps and networks. For example, if you have a VPN deployed by work, they can manage, they can get some information from there. They can manage the information from the corporate application as well. Let's say if they have a OneDrive and their data is stored in OneDrive, they should be able to access the data, wipe the data, manage the data, protect the data, and so on and so forth. When you hit continue, so let's say you review the information, all that good stuff, and download the profile. So when you click on that, it will download the profile, it will reach out to your Intune service, Cloud Intune service, and it will request to download the profile. So now it's downloaded the profile. The website is trying to download a configuration profile. Do you want to allow this? Yes, I want to allow this. So it says profile downloaded. Profile downloaded, and now after the download is complete, continue the company portal app. So when you hit continue, you have to go to this place, which is go to the settings, enroll, general, VPN and device management, and enroll my iPhone. It's a pretty simple step. So let's follow these steps. Go to settings, general, VPN and device management, and here's the profile downloaded. So if I show you one more time, sorry, what's too fast. So settings, general, VPN and device management, here, downloaded profile. So when you click on downloaded profile, it says enroll my iPhone. Before you do that, make sure that it's reaching out to the correct management system. So enroll my iPhone, I will ask for the passcode to make sure the right person is doing that, and then put the password here. Alright, so let me take you here and launch the company portal app here. Just wanted to show you what that means. So begin, continue, continue. So download management profile. So it's downloading the profile here. Allow profile downloaded. So when you go to the settings here, wanted to show you a very important thing here. General, VPN and device management profile downloaded. When user try to download, when user tries to download the, install the profile, first just pay attention what it's saying on top. Organization, blah blah, and Apple ID demo 54. Okay, so technically it is an Apple ID, but there is a difference between Apple ID and manage Apple ID. So when you hit next, when I enter the credentials here, one second, let me pause. So I entered the password and look what it's saying. This Apple ID is not supported. Try signing in with the managed Apple ID. So one of the mandatory requirement for the user enrollment is the managed Apple ID. Like what I explained about the containerization system. So this is what you call containerization. When you download when you log in with the managed Apple ID, you will get a separate container within your device, and your company will only be able to manage that. When the device is no longer managed and when your ID is killed, all of the managed data will be gone. So that's because I cannot proceed, my federation is not enabled, then I won't be able to proceed with this step. But when I have the federation, then I will show you how to enable the user enrollment. So now let's go back to the Intune portal, and okay, I'll go ahead and cancel this because I can't proceed with this step here. So I'll go ahead and delete the profile, the one which was downloaded. So VPN, I'll go ahead and cancel and delete the profile. Okay, perfect. So back to normal again. It's my unmanaged device and BYOD device. So the lesson learned is, if you go back in here, you must need manage Apple. I sorry, not this one. This is a device enrollment. This one. All right, let's go back to the final one, which is the device enrollment. And that's pretty simple. So let's fix this thing from Intune. I'll go ahead and unassign my user group from here. Just iOS user enrollment. Um, Even though it does say the user enrollment, I'll just reuse the same group anyway because I don't want to create another group for the device enrollment. I'll assign this user to this device enrollment group here. Ah, not this one. Okay. So actually, you know what? I will show you the other option when the user picks up, which is the both. So I'll send the user to this profile, add group. All right, so now user is a part of both. Both means like determined based on the user choice. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll go back to the device. Let me share the device here. Yeah, I'll go ahead and start enrolling the device. We'll launch company portal app, sign in. Hit begin, continue. You see now we have a less information here. So it's downloading the management profile, sorry. And then when you hit allow, close, go back to the settings, same thing. Profile downloaded, you can just simply click on that profile downloaded, or you can go into setting VPN and device management just like before. So now you see that's slightly different. It's pretty simple and straightforward. You hit install, it will ask for the passcode, and when you install, it's enrolling the certificate. You can see the more details here as well. Okay, so I guess it's already installed, or did I interrupt the process? Let me do it anyway. Yeah, I guess it's already installed, that's why. Yes, it's downloaded. So let me go back to the app here. So when I hit continue, no, it's not. So go back to general, VPN and device management. Try to install the profile one more time. I think I messed up. Let me remove the profile and start from the company portal app. Postpone company portal app. Signing in. Okay, perfect. So now it looks good. It just took few minutes to reach out to my device. So now this is the place I want to show you when you are assigned with the management profile that is up to the user's choice. You will see both options. Azure Lab Academy owns this device, or I own this device. If you choose I own this device, it will take you to the user. It will take you to both option. So this is 100% BYOD. Oh, sorry, this is 100% COD, corporate owned device, and this is the BYOD device. Now depends, secure the entire device, that's called device enrollment, and secure the work related app. So let's say like secure the entire device. Well, let me click on secure the work related app, so it will take you to the user enrollment again. and you need a manage ID. So I will hit postpone here. We'll start the process again. See if it shows up. If not, then I'll close the company portal app and relaunch it. Sign in. Begin. I own this device. Secure my entire device. Continue. 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 Download the management profile. It's downloading the profile in the backend. I will allow profile downloaded. I'll go back to the place where the profile is downloaded so I can install it. General device management profile. I'll hit install. Provide the passcode. One failed attempt. Hit install. Enrolling the device now. Installing profile. When I hit install, I will say yes, I trust this company to manage my device. Hit done. Okay, profile downloaded. Go back to the company portal app, and since I have the categories, I'll choose the iOS categories here. Nothing to do with the enrollment process. Hit continue, and it's gonna look for the compliance check. So that's called device enrollment. This is coming from the Defender app because I downloaded and I deployed the Defender app before. Just making sure. Okay. So you're all set, done. When I go to my devices, I'll just check the status. Because you own the device, you can do factory reset, you can remove the device. It's under your control. But the company will be managing some apps too. Generally, those apps are available here under the app section in the company portal app. So technically, when you launch the Outlook app now, it should allow you to access the data because your device is enrolled and compliant. So as soon as it's updated, I'll go ahead and launch the app. And in the meantime, I'll go to the Intune portal to see if my device is appearing under my iOS tab. Not yet, but soon it will be here. Okay. Okay, now I have access to the data and my device is enrolled as well. So if I go to settings under management profile, and you will see that my device shows as enrolled. Okay, very cool. Alright, so that was a device enrollment. I'm just waiting to see my device here. I'll give it a few minutes. And then we will retire the device. And I will explore some other options from the company portal app. And then we'll hop on and incorporate on device methods. Alright, so after I waited a few minutes, my personal BYOD device showed up on Intune portal. And you might be wondering why two entries. So the two entries are the one, like, remember, like we went through the user base enrollment, and halfway through we just uh, like we couldn't perform like a full enrollment because of we didn't have the manage Apple IDs. So long story short, these are the two entries here. So I'll go ahead and remove the entries, but before I remove the entry, this one, you see that if you look at the article, then when I was going through user enrollment, then only four options are available. Okay, and so this one is somehow it shows the wipe as well. That's gonna, let me see here. Okay, so the wipe is showing because it took it as a device device enrollment. So what we're gonna do here is I'll go ahead and remove this entry because it's not evaluated anyway. So delete this one. Oh god, test, refresh, and this one here. So this is the actual entry. So you see that not all the things are available. For example, phone number, my personal apps are not uh, being showing as a manage, and some of these apps are deployed in terms of they are showing as available for install. Let me go to my phone here. I'll show my screen. Alright, so for example, one of my personal apps here is Plural Site, right? And let me see what else I have. Yeah, that's it. So Plural Site is one of my personal app, and let's see if it discovered that app. So it did not discover that application. So let's go to the discovered apps. Nothing in there. Manage apps, no Plural Site here. Oh, here. So I think it does say the installed. Okay. So let me see how I install this Plural Site app. Maybe I install it through the Apple Business Manager portal. If that's the case, then indeed it will be a managed app. Let me go in here. So I don't have this app here, and I'll go to Intune. Apps. Here it is. Okay, so that's the reason. Because I have deployed this application through Intune, and that's why it's showing as a managed app. Okay, never mind. So that was one of the method available. So I'll go ahead and we'll go to devices, iOS. I'll go ahead and retire this iPhone here. We'll retire this iPhone. Okay, and by the way, if you look at the ownership type, and it's personal, and if you still remember the method we followed the method like to manage my entire device, right? But it came up as a personal ownership. So let's do the other settings here. So I did the retirement here for this device. Let me log on and let's see if the profile is removed. Yes, it did remove the profile. Very good. So technically the device is no longer managed. The device is no longer managed. I'll go ahead and remove that entry from Intune as well. And it already was synced now, but yeah, so the device is gone already. This one, no device found here. So we did the cleanup here. Obviously, it's going to take some time for portal to update, but we're not going to wait. I'll go ahead and initiate another enrollment type here. So company portal app, hit sign in. Okay, device removed, that's okay. Hit sign in here. Unlock. I'll just cancel this. Not this one, sorry. Let's launch the company portal app here. Authenticator. Guess I have to enter my credentials because I'm first time logging in after the device went unmanaged. Select the device enrollment type. So if you look at this, the first select the device enrollment type. Generally, you don't see this because generally you do not assign your users a part of the enrollment type profile, but I did it for this example. That's why I'm getting this one. So technically, I have to go through all these 5 steps. So let's go to the step number 1. I own this device. Under I own this device, we check to secure the entire device and secure the work-related app and data only. Just for the sake of completion, I'll go ahead and choose this one as well, and we'll see how it works. Continue. Allow. Profile downloaded. And look at that. It's different. Again, the same thing, just like it's called user enrollment, the big user enrollment. And it says sign in with this manage Apple ID allows this organization to manage this device. So my demo 54 is not manage Apple ID. So I'll not just proceed because I know I'll not be able to complete. Once I federate my tenant with ABM, then I'll choose this option. Okay, I'll hit postpone. So those were the 2 options. And now let's go to the first option because these are the 2 options of the second option. But let's relaunch the app and let's go to the first option here. Sign in. Okay, here. So let's say Azure Lab Academy owns this device. Hit continue, continue. All right, profile downloaded. Let's go to the settings. Profile downloaded here. Install. Device passcode. Install. Install. Trust. And go back to company portal app. Hit continue. Choose the device, iOS devices. Hit continue. It's gonna check some settings. And after a few seconds, it will return as complete pass or complete failure. Alright, so my device looks good. I hit done here. It's Go to settings. Yes, it is installed. I will launch the company portal app here. So this was the last use case of our video for BYOD. After that, we will jump on the corporate owned devices. This portal is not up to date yet, so I have to wait for the portal to. Alright, so let's get back to our agenda here. So I checked the configure enrollment types, and then the next thing that I just did is to enroll one of my iPhone as a corporate owned device. So I'm gonna take you guys to the portal here. So enter the okay. So this test iPhone is enrolled as a company owned device. And if I show you what, as an end user, what abilities I have or what functionalities I have to perform on this device. So if you bring up the company portal app here, sign you in here real quick. Okay, so devices, for example, this is the device. I can rename my iPhone. I can remove the device. I can check the status just to make sure my device is compliant. And I can do the factory reset. Because of these, because all these options are available, just because the ownership is corporate, but you can see the enrollment method is different. Like I use the company portal app to enroll the device. So you will see different behavior of different settings and company portal app depending on enrollment method you do. The one we followed is, I would say it's not the most famous one or is most recommended one, because generally if you want to do the corporate owned device, you adopt a method that has less hassle, right? For example, Apple Business Manager, zero touch enrollment, things like that. You don't want user to go over the entire process from the company owned device. Then what's the point, right? User will say like, if I have to do everything, then what you guys are doing. So that's just one of the methods to enroll device as a company owned device. So I'll go ahead and retire this device or just leave it the way as it is. But let's go over to the second device and I will see if I can show you in my camera how to enroll the second one. Now we are discussing about, let me see. So we already did discuss this one. And second, we discussed the BYOD method here. I'm going to discuss the Apple device enrollment method now. So in the Apple device enrollment method, first thing first, you need to make sure you have the Apple push certificate enabled. So that is, you can find under, so if you go to devices, iOS devices, and iOS enrollment, and this is Apple MDM push certificate. Make sure that this is available. You can just get any test email account to sign up with the Apple portal, and it will expire in 1 year. You keep an eye on it. Once it's expired, either you can renew it or you can create it from the brand new. Okay, and since I have it enabled, second thing is Apple Business Manager. So make sure your device is connected to the Apple Business Manager. So there are two ways to add your device to the Apple Business Manager. Let me log in. Okay. So under the devices, since I have this iPhone hooked up to this Apple Business Manager, you have to, I already made a separate video how to configure Apple Business Manager. I'm not gonna go deep into this, but just to kind of show you, there are two ways to attach the devices to the Apple Business Manager. One is through the Apple configurator using Mac computer, uh, by using a network profile. Another one is through the partner. So since I don't have any partner, so I am using Apple configurator. The way you can find out is under the details. When you go to device, it will show you the source, and the source is Apple configurator. And if I show you the article here, um, and iOS devices to Apple Business Manager, there is a really great blog. Yeah, I think this one. So this is what you need. You need a Mac desktop or laptop running at least Mac OS Catalina, and this is mandatory. Okay, and then AC2 is Apple configurator to a desktop. So Apple configurator to install from the App Store. So once you have the Apple configurator to install on that Mac computer, then physical access to the iOS. Obviously, you need a device which you are trying to hook up to the Apple Business Manager. Okay, so you connect this device with the USB cable to your Mac. An Apple Business Manager will, with the role of the device enrollment manager, assign an ABM or ACM account with the role of the device enrollment manager assigned. So this is the DEM account, at least at the very least you need. A network profile in Apple configurator 2. This is the magical step. Once you have the network profile, you should be able to add it easily. Okay, and ABM configured with Microsoft Endpoint Mdm Server. So if you look at this is a Mac computer. What they're doing here is creating a Wi-Fi profile. You really don't need this Wi-Fi profile, because once the device is configured, it is generally when like you're taking a zero touch approach. For example, like if you hand over the device to the person, and the person is sitting in a corporate network, then you actually deploy the Wi-Fi profile. So as soon as the person spin up the device, and the device automatically connected to the internet and recognize itself as a ABM device, and find out that this is not a normal device. So, but you can just ignore this step, because not necessarily the person will be spinning up the device will always available within that Wi-Fi range. Okay, so generate MDM server URL. This is important step. So basically what you do is enroll devices, Apple enrollment, the same place. So if I show you real quick here, um, Apple configurator, you create a profile here. Since I have the profile here, you can create with User Affinity, and you can do without User Affinity. Without User Affinity is generally for the devices you enroll, like a chaos devices. It's very simple to create a profile. You can just click create here, give it a name like test001 or whatever, and hit next, and this is where you actually try user affinity. So I chose the user affinity. When you choose the user affinity, it'll give you two options: company portal app or setup assistance. Company portal app is like a most modern way to do it. For example, like it recognizes the account with the modern authentication enable. The setup assistant is still considered as a legacy authentication, and does not support the MFA, or in other words, the modern authentication on the account. Okay, so most of the people still prefer to go with the company portal app to enroll the device. Basically, that's just the authentication way. So basically what it's saying is, when you spin up the ABM device, when you enroll the ABM device, when ABM device found out that this is not a normal device. This is hooked up to the Intune. How you wanted to authenticate this user with Intune to enroll the device, to complete the enrollment process. So let's say User Affinity, company portal, hit next, and that's it when you hit create. And the other option is without User Affinity. It's pretty simple, no other options available, and hit create. Okay, under the User Affinity, you have two options. We're not going to discuss the legacy method, setup assistance, right? Okay, all right. So once you have the profile, it will give you an option to export the profile. So when you click on the profile here, it will tell you export the profile. So when you hit export, it will give you the tenant ID and the URL. You can copy it, right? And then use this. You will be using this URL. Okay. Go back to that article. So you see that Apple configurator profiles create export profile, and you copy this URL, and then now you prepare your Apple configurator. So the important thing is you cannot save the data on the device. For example, if user John is using the device and he's no longer with the company, and you wanted to reassign that corporate owned device to user Jerry, so the device has to go through the wipe process. Okay, no matter what you do, device must go through the wipe process in order for uh, Jerry to use or reuse the device as a corporate on enrolled device. Okay, so you prepare the device. This is, by the way, the Apple configurator. Okay, below settings must be selected. So manual configuration, so you select the manual configuration. Apple School Business Manager allow devices to pair with the other computers, and do not select activate and complete enrollment or enable shared iPad. So these are the screenshots. A very nice article, very handy. And this is the URL. That's where you need the URL. So the next step, you put the URL here and give it a name. And once you provide all that information, you can just simply ignore this thing, unable to verify the server enrollment. You can just proceed and hit next here, and then you log in with the Apple Business Manager account. Next, authenticate to ABM with an account with the Device Enrollment Manager role assigned. Okay, so you can create an account which is in the ABM for Device Enrollment Manager, right? And then the profile is set up and it's ready. So once you go through this process, you will see the device will be attached here under the devices, but the device will not have a MDM profile assigned. So what you do here, you click on edit. Like if I do unassigned profile, let me show you, confirm. So now I don't have any profile assigned to this device, but the device is enrolled. When you refresh, yes, you see like a no MDM server assigned, the device will be like this. So you come here and click one of the profile you have it set up. If you have a question, what is MDM profile and how it's set up, please watch my another video where I explain in the detail how to configure this MDM profile. So now my MDM profile is assigned to my device. My device is good to go with the Intune. So how Intune would know that the Apple Business Manager has a new device and I am ready to welcome a new device in my Intune portal? So you actually, if you should go to the preference here, this is the MDM server. You create a server here. I already have it created. What you do is add MDM server, give it a name, let's say like Intune MDM, right? And you share the public key with this Apple, and Apple will generate a new server token. And how you do that? So go back to the Intune portal here. So we already discussed the Apple configurator here. So enrollment program tokens, and you create a new token. You click on add, I agree, download your public key. So when you download this public key, it's going to download. When you upload this public key uh, to the Apple Business Manager, when you upload this public key, when you hit save, it's going to generate a new server token here. So it's going to generate a new server token here, and then you download that token here and take it back to Microsoft Intune. That's called Apple token. You put the Apple configuration business manager ID here and upload that token, the one which you will be receiving from the ABM account, and then hit next, and then you are good to go. So let me see if I can create it real quick. So I would do like Intune MDM. I will call it for demo. Okay, I already uploaded the file here. I will hit save. Okay, for demo, and then okay, perfect. So if you look at that, I have an option here, download token. So I'm going to download the server token here. We'll go back to Microsoft Intune, and we'll put the Apple Business Manager account that I don't know. Let me find out. All right, so you put the Apple Business Manager account here, upload the key, the one we just received. You see that comes with the profile name, Intune MDM for demo. So when you open that, hit next, next, create, and then you will see the enrollment program token will show you active here. Okay, so you can have a multiple EPT enrollment program tokens here in Microsoft Intune with one Apple Business Manager, not a problem at all. So once you have the enrollment program token active, then you make sure that the right MDM profile is assigned. So now if I go back to my device, since I have more than one profile, I should be able to see the drop down here, assign a profile. So I see now I'm on Intune MDM, and now it shows me an option to switch over to the Intune MDM for demo, which that I'm not gonna do it. So I already have the Microsoft Intune one assigned. So since I already have it assigned, what you will do here is, I always forget where it is. Here, sync. So let me show you so you don't get confused. So Intune EPT token, click on Microsoft Intune devices and hit sync. When you hit sync, you will see the device will be retrieved here. Okay, so every 15 minutes you can retry the sync here, and you can in fact delete the device from here if it's not enrolled, because my device is enrolled. I may not be able to delete it. So what I would do here, I will go ahead and wipe my devices and enroll it from the scratch. And by the way, I forgot to tell you one more thing here. So device is sync. So first step was to create an EPT token, enrollment program token. Second step is to make sure the device is synced. The third and the very important step, how you want to manage the device from Intune. And that's what you call Microsoft Intune profiles for ABM devices. So Intune offer multiple profiles. So for example, if I show you here, so we're working on iOS and iPad. This is very deep, but I'm gonna just give you the high level here. So test profile for demo. Right, next. Okay, so similar concept, just like you enroll the device, because this apparently is a different enrollment method, right? This is the ABM and the other one was the Mac. For example, if you don't have an ABM and you still wanted to have your user zero touch experience, you can use the Mac Apple Configurator Manager on the Mac, and you can just manually enroll the device and attach the device to the ABM. But this is where you actually define when a device is directly coming from the AVM. Enroll with User Affinity. So enroll with User Affinity. I'm gonna without User Affinity, it's pretty simple. You can have supervised or non-supervised. And now you would be wondering like, what is supervised? So look at that. Supervised mode enables a larger set of configuration options. This mode cannot be changed without a factory reset. So basically more strict way to control the device. Okay, let's go with the User Affinity. Under the User Affinity, if you remember that the authentication method exists, and the one is the company portal, other one is the setup assistant, the legacy one, and the third is recently introduced called setup assistance with authentication, with modern authentication. As you know that the setup assistant used to have a legacy method without any kind of modern authentication. So the new method is introduced, basically a replacement of the legacy or successor of the legacy or setup assistant authentication. We'll go with the company portal apps to keep things simple here. And then this is the EPT token. Okay, so I have the EPT token here, and you might be wondering how you create a EPT volume licensing, volume purchase program token. So let me show you that as well. So let's switch the gears, go back to the tenant administration. I'll come back here. Connector and tokens. Tenant administration connector and token, that's what you call VPP, Apple VPP token. So I have the VPP token. That's also easy to create. Similar concept. You handshake the tokens with Apple Business Manager, and Apple Business Manager will trust you and will give their applications to the Microsoft Intune portals. For example, the applications I purchased from Apple Store. So apps and store. So let me show you. For example, this Twitter, Instagram, OneDrive, I have all these apps. These called iOS BPP app, volume purchase app. Okay. So for you to do that, you have to have a trust token between ABM and the Intune. So how you create that? You create this token and give it a notative like any token name you can provide. You can provide the Apple ID here and the token file. You download the token file from Apple Business Manager. So if I show you real quick here, I believe it's, let me see, apps. Always having a hard time to locate things in Apple Business Manager. Let me go back to preference here. Alright, looks like uh, the documentation is not up to date, and Apple recently changed the layout of their portal. It used to be a settings tab, but now it turned out to be a preference here. So I'll submit a feedback to change, to update the documentation as well. But just I was gonna show you like how to update the VPP token. So simply you go to the Mdm server, the one you created, download the token, and you upload the token here. VPP token file. Oh, finally I found a hidden treasure here. Sorry, my bad. So we're okay. So they made a slight change. So now what they're calling it the preference here. So let me show you where I'm at. So when you go to the when you click on the profile name here, and when you go to the preference here, when you click on accounts, not the accounts, payment and billing information, payment and billing, and under the apps and books, this is where the hidden treasure is. So it was grayed out. I thought, what's the point of keeping this thing here as a grayed out icon? When you click on that, magic happens. So when you click on that, it will download the token, and this is the token you need to upload here. So this is the one you gonna upload here. You put the Apple ID and the VPP token will be active. So I already have it one enabled. You can as soon as you add an app here, so let me show you. So for example, you go to the application and book and purchase an app here. So for example, the app that we are looking at here is, let's say, Disney. Let's say Disney Plus, right? 5 apps. Choose a location here and okay. So making a purchase here. Okay, so Disney is being purchased. Okay, done. So when you go back to the Intune, by default the token syncs, Intune syncs the token with Apple once a day. But if you are in a hurry to assign that app, you can you won't be able to see the Disney here. Okay, so there's no Disney. But if you wanted to speed up the process, you go to the tenant administration, connector and tokens, go to the Vpp token and hit sync on the 3 little dots and sync. If you don't sync it, it will sync once a day anyway, but just to speed up the process here. But now if you go back to the apps here, iOS, and if you search for Disney, here it is. So it showed up. Pretty cool. All right, so we discuss the EPT token, we discuss the app token, like volume purchase app Vpp token, and now it's time to onboard the device as an AVM. So another thing I was gonna show you here is so I have the device here, which is assigned with my Microsoft Intune profile. This profile is not coming from Intune. It is a profile under the Apple Business Manager, the preference like MDM profile. So this one we're talking about, Microsoft Intune. All right, let's go back to devices here, and I'll go ahead and wipe the device. So I show you from the scratch. So device, iOS. Okay, I'll go ahead and wipe the device here. Okay. And before I do that, let me show you so we can compare the settings. If you go to the enrollment status and enrollment program token, I'll go ahead and delete this one so you are not getting confused with this. And we'll delete from Apple Business Manager as well. Preference, delete. Okay, so now we have only one profile, which is good, and we have one profile. So if you click on this, if you go to the devices, you see that the last contacted here, that means it's enrolled. So Intune profile, so I was gonna show you the Intune profile as well before we do that. And you like a state is enrolled. So I'll go ahead and wipe the device so we save some time, and in the meantime I'll go over the Intune profile here. So let's go back to the devices, iOS. I'll wipe the device here, wipe. So wipe has been initiated. I won't be able to show you right now, but I'll try my best to show you when I re-roll the device. So currently it's resetting my iPhone. Alright, as you can see that the device is not found and my iPhone is back to the very first page when you buy your iPhone. You know, when you unbox the iPhone, it says hello. So I'm gonna leave my iPhone there. This is just a portal thing because it's not up to date, but in reality the iPhone is already gone from the portal. Alright, I'll just give it like a few minutes to completely disappear this entry from here. In the meantime, what we can do, we can discuss the ABM Intune profile. So under the program tokens, this is like a umbrella of the EPT, and under umbrella you can have multiple profiles. So I already have the one profile which is with User Affinity company portal. Let's go ahead and explore the properties. I'll give it like test, oops, big jump, test, demo. I just changed my keyboard today, so my fingers are not used to this keyboard. Okay, so User Affinity, enroll with User Affinity here, company portal app, authentication method. As you know, there are two authentication method, actually three, and install Vpp. So that's where we were at. We redirected to a different route. So this is, I was going to like install Vpp app. So that's the token I showed you under the tenant administration connector and token. That's for receiving the Vpp apps here. Okay, so that token is here active. Run company portal in single app mode. So that's for basically like a kiosk mode devices. So after Apple set up a company will automatically launch in the single app mode to authenticate. So run company model in single app mode until authentication. So basically what it's doing is I would set it to yes. The reason is I don't want my user to be distracted unless the device is completely enrolled. So in other words, what it's saying is the device will be locked, only company portal app will be usable, and basically the company portal app will automatically launch and user will have to go through the enrollment process by using company portal app to complete enrollment. So it's like a single app mode until authentication. When it's authenticated, then it will unlock. Okay, that's why it says like recommended. So read again. After Apple setup assistant completes, a company portal app will automatically launch in the single app mode and requires user to authenticate recommended. Okay, but right. So let me go back to my other profile, the one I created. I wanted to compare this setting, and by the way, you see that this device showing not connected right now, but it is assigned. And since we are here, I wanted to show you how to assign the profile to these devices. So basically the way you do it, right now this is a profile assigned. And how you do that, let me show you. You go to the devices here. So let me show you from the scratch. iOS, iPad enrollment program token. When you click on that, devices is the tab where you see all the devices, and that's where you unassign and reassign the profile. You can delete the device here. So for example, if I delete the device, all right, it's deleting, give it a minute or two. Okay, so device is gone. So technically I don't have any ABM device hooked up to my Intune tenant, but you know the magic, right? Because I haven't actually deleted the device from the ABM tenant, I can always resync the device and my device will just come back here, and I will show you in this case. So this is my device here, and if I sync the ABM with my Intune, surely I will see my device show up here. Here it is. So the device is back. Second thing is assign the profile. Since the device is back, there is no profile assigned, right? It does say the profile assigned, but let's see which one. So I would go ahead and I have the profile set up here. So enroll with User Affinity and assign. Okay, so the profile is assigned. and it says last contacted, no. The reason the profile was automatically assigned, I guess I set up the default profile to be assigned with that one. So the profile is assigned. Okay, I don't want to delete it again. And okay, let's go to my profile here. I wanted to see one setting here. Okay, so let's explore the settings in my current profile. So User Affinity, Company Portal, Vpp app, all three main boys over here, and then run company portal in single app. Yes. Supervise. So supervise, we already discussed. Supervise versus non-supervised means more restricted versus less restrictive. So supervise is more restrictive. Okay, so when you supervise, I think I may not be able to edit the settings, so you will not be able to see more options. So let me go ahead and create a profile. Just test. User Affinity, Company Portal, Vpp Token. Yes. Okay, so run company one single app. So now you see like it's always supervised. But when you set to um, no, why the supervise option is great. So management options. Okay, so oh I see. Okay, so basically when you choose the company portal app, then supervise option is automatically grayed out. Got it. And when you choose the setup assistance with modern authentication and without modern authentication, then you have option to go with the non-supervised. Non-supervised will give you less option and less secure. Okay, in terms of managing the device, not in terms of security. Okay, so I'll go with the company portal app, and I will go with this option, and it says like you have to have at least 11.3.1 to utilize this functionality, which is like single app mode for company portal. So basically I'll show you what that means. My device will be frozen and only company portal app will launch automatically. It will download from the Vpp Token apps, right? And then I have to go through the enrollment process, basically like to register my device, and then my device will be usable. Supervise. So I'll go with the supervise option. Locked enrollment. Yes. So supervision is required for devices using company portal as their authorization method. So I'll go lock enrollment. So what it is, lock enrollment blocks the user from removing a management profile through the iOS settings menu. Remember I showed you the other device which was even enrolled as a company portal, sorry, the corporate owned device, but user still had a functionality to unenroll the device. So let me refresh your memory and show you the device, what I'm talking about. So check this out. This is another iPhone which is enrolled as a corporate owned device. If I show you here in my company, my Intune tenant, the good thing is the ABM device is gone. So this is the one, the corporate one. You see like a corporate ownership. But if I take you back to the device here, if I launch the company portal app, I do have option and freedom to do a few things. One is I can remove the device, I can factory reset device. Even though it's a company owned device, I shouldn't be doing these options. That's why this option is the less recommended option. You know, like when you actually enroll your device by using company portal app and you are using a company asset, because you shouldn't be factory resetting the company owned assets, right? Maybe you have a data preservation policy, like the data shouldn't be loose from the device. So anyway, these are the options available depending on the enrollment method. So I'll get back to my topic here. Now the profile. So I'll go ahead and locked enrollment. Yes. Sync with computers. I'll set it to allow. So what it does, specify whether iOS and devices can sync with computers. That's okay. They can plug in and sync the devices with the computers. And if you want to go with a more secure Apple configurator by certificates, you can generate a certificate and then device will be able to sync. But I will say like allow all. And otherwise, if you choose this one, you have to upload the certificate from Apple configurator. Okay, device name. I don't want to apply the template, but in my actual profile, I did apply template with something like I call it ABM hyphen serial number. So ABM something like this. I think I did that typo here. Yeah, so ABM should be in a double bracket as well. The device template contains unallowed character. Okay, so that's unallowed. Oh, I see. Very nice. FI. For some reason, it's okay. So device character only A to Z, 0 to 9 allowed. Okay, gotcha. Let me verify with my profile here what template I was using. I'm just curious because generally I don't visit these profiles, so I forgot the naming convention here. So I'll go back to my normal program tokens here, profiles, properties. Here. Oh, I see. Okay. AVM serial. Okay, good. Okay, got it. Supposed to be like this. Okay, perfect. So serial, since serial is a property, it's pulling from the device. Then it has to be in the curly bracket, and AVM is like a hard-coded value, so it will be without curly bracket. Okay, fair enough. So it can be anything. So it can be like ABM devices, something like this. Okay, perfect. Active cellular data. So if you have a cellular plan, you can do that. Yes, and you can enter the carrier information here. I don't have, it's my lab, so I'll click next. This is where all the settings begin. So you enter the department name, phone number, okay, and then this is where you actually secure the device, like passcode, show location services, hide, restore, hide, Apple ID, hide, terms and conditions, hide, touch ID and face, show, Apple Pay, show, Zoom, Siri, show, diagnostic data, hide. So you can just simplify the management here. Home button, show, onboarding, screen time, screen time hide, onboarding, show, SIM setup, software update, watch migration preference. So these are just the basic settings you want to look at. And then when you hit next, review and create, once the profile is set up, all you need to do just to assign this profile to the device the way I was showing you. So you go in here, Enrollment Program Token, Devices, click on Device and assign profile on top of it. So select and assign profile. Very cool. So since I have the device added and I have the device back to the factory reset, and then I'll go ahead and open up my camera to show you how does the onboarding process look like. But before we do that, let's update the checklist here. So we discuss the Apple configurator as well, but we're not gonna discuss about that device enrollment manager and the setup assistance thing. So go ahead and strike through this. Configure Apple. We discussed this, manage Apple IDs, enroll personal devices with user enrollment. Remember where the manage Apple ID was required, so we got stuck. Enroll devices with Apple automated device, and this is where we are. And I showed an article to explore Apple configurator. It's pretty easy setup. So let's do this last topic here, and then I have some bonus topic, which is how to change your corporate owned devices to the personally owned device without losing your data. Okay. All right, so hopefully you can see my camera, and this is my phone here. So this is just, let me turn it off. And so when you log on, this is the first screen which you see when you hit swipe up, and this is where you choose the language. So I'll choose English here. English. And then you select the country or region, and then you actually, if you have a VPN profile deployed at this moment, it should connect, but I'll go ahead and set up manually. And then I'll choose my Wi-Fi here. I'll enter the password. Okay, so the Wi-Fi is connected. So I'll go ahead and to the next step. You see like a next button here. So hit next. So now it says like it may take a few minutes to activate your phone. So basically it's activating with between the ABM and Microsoft Intune. And let it give it a few minutes to download the ABM profile. And in the meantime, I'll just stop it there. And in the meantime, let me bring up the portal. If I show you here real quick, devices, iOS, enrollment program token, profile. Currently it says never contacted. Okay, this device, I wanted to show you when it shows enroll device. So profile, when you click on profile, assign devices, it says not contacted, right? So just keep an eye on it. So I'll go ahead and go back to my device here. Okay, so you see like a data and privacy thing. I'll go for continue. I want to say like set up later, and then create a passcode. I'll set up the passcode here. Okay. So now look at these options. restore from iCloud backup, restore from Mac or PC, transfer. So don't transfer app and data. To choose how you want to transfer apps and data. So I'll go ahead and don't transfer. Basically, all right. So the funny thing happened when I tried to onboard the device, and it just um, didn't recognize it as an ABM device. So what happened is I had to do some troubleshooting, and let me turn on the device here real quick. Let me go over the process here. So I connected the Wi-Fi here. So hit next. Don't transfer app and data. So this is what shows that the device is ABM managed device. So I'm gonna hit next here, and just wanted to show you, it says never connected. And if you look at that profile here, one second, never contacted profile. When you click on profile, not contacted. Okay, it's configuring iPhone. Sorry for this camera view, I'm just using my webcam. Oh wait. I'll wait to go through the process. Okay, so perfect, so that's done. So even though I did not complete the enrollment process yet, but you see that it does say right now on the Intune, it says enrolled. Okay, I'll expand this thing bigger. Okay, so I'll set up Face ID later. I'll enter the passcode, the one I set up in the beginning. Oh, actually, it's asking me to create the passcode. So I created the passcode here. And then it says sign in with the Apple ID. So that part shouldn't come, honestly. So let me check. Okay, so back to the portal. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna restrict the profile, and I will I'm under the enrollment program tokens profile, so I will only do passcode and the touch ID. The rest I will just block it or hide it because I'm not getting a good user experience, the end user experience. So I'll save this profile here. Because I have done this thing in the middle of the enrollment process, so I will, let me see if I can Alright, so I have to start the process from the scratch because my internet went down, and plus I had to fix the policy a little bit. So if I show you real quick here what changes I have made here under the policy devices, iOS, enrollment program token. Let me make this thing smaller. Profile. I just made it more simple. So what I did here, I hide pretty much everything and just passcode and touch ID and face ID is shown. So I had to reset the device, start all over, and then I'm gonna reproduce the same thing to record this video. Okay, so this is a policy here. So my device is completely wiped. It had the hello screen. I'll go ahead and choose the country, go back, United States, set up manually. I'll connect my Wi-Fi here. Okay, so Wi-Fi is connected. Now it's activating with Apple services. Okay, so there it is. So remote management. So do you see like Enroll and remote management will allow, so you don't have any option. Either you can go back or you hit next and the device will be enrolled in remote. So when you hit next here, now it's configuring the iPhone, installing configuration from the profile I created. So basically it's loading all the policies at the moment. And remember, we lock the enrollment until company portal app is installed. So configuring iPhone here. Okay, perfect. So I'm not going to enable the Face ID. I'll click on Setup later. I'll set up the passcode here because remember one of the things here, if you're looking at the screen, passcode and Touch ID and Face ID was enabled. So set up a passcode here. Perfect. So now look at that. At this moment, it should enable the guided access. So basically I have the guided access enabled and it's installing company portal app. Okay, so company portal app is launched. If I do any other thing, it wouldn't let me do anything because the guided access and enrollment is locked. It wouldn't let me go out of this screen. It will only just allow me to use this app. So I'll go ahead and enroll with my user account here. It's not basically enrollment, it's to finish the enrollment. So I have created an account demo 54. This is just FYI, just a regular account, not the Apple account. So I entered this account here. I enter the password, so it's my demo 54 account. Okay, so say okay here, and then it says get your device managed and check settings. So all I have to do is just to click on begin. Okay, let me make this thing bigger if I can. So there are two options available here. I think camera is focusing. That's better. I'll just leave it like this. Okay. So say get your device managed, checking device setting when I hit begin. And now if you look at the profile, it should say enrolled. Okay. Location services not interested. It's iOS devices because I have the device category set up. And then I'll hit continue. Now it's checking. So you can see that the device is showing up under the Azure Active Directory, and device shows compliant. It just turned compliant. So for some reason it just, I'll go ahead and cancel here, and now everything looks good. So if you want to explore the options here, like devices, you don't have factory reset and remote device enable, only the check status. So pretty cool. So the device is enrolled. If you want to go under the management and check under the management general and VPN and device management, you see the management profile is set up. By the way, this VPN is coming from the Defender for Endpoint. My last video I deployed the VPN. Okay, and this is the management profile. I'll show you all the managed apps here. Pretty cool. So it looked good. So that was another method for the corporate owned device, and I hope this video is informative and helpful. I apologize because I don't make the scripted videos. I do the troubleshooting with during the video, so that took a little longer. Alright, thanks everyone.